What's happening, guys? A Venom spin-off film is on its way. Will it be a movie about a villain or a hero, or perhaps both? It's time to sum up all the great Venom stories that would fit perfectly into Eddie Brock's own film. We're starting off with the Amazing Spider-Man issue 300, which features Venom for the first time. And even though the character was first introduced in the previous issue, Amazing Spider-Man 299, the Amazing Spider-Man 300 features Venom in his full appearance for the first time ever. A perfect origin story for its own film, which not only reveals how Brock became Venom, it also shows what Venom is capable of as soon as he becomes villain. Venom shows his true colors by first stalking Mary Jane in her own apartment, leaving Peter's wife in shock. Later on, Peter begins to notice that someone is following him, and it's really creepy. Also in this issue, Venom kills a human for the first time. The issue has everything: an origin story, Venom stalking both Peter and Mary Jane, which could play very well on the big screen, if done right of course, and a first kill by Venom, which basically tells us that you better not mess up with this guy. Number 2. Venom The Hunger story, a 4-part story which was released back in 1996. Now this story could definitely make a decent horror film, since in this issue Eddie Brock is forced to eat human brains in order to survive. Are you still here? Great. While I'm sure you definitely don't want to see something like that in a movie, certain elements from this story could play very well on the big screen. This story introduced Venom symbiote's new demands for survival. Now it requires to eat human brains. Eddie Brock refuses to eat brains and symbiote abandons him. Eddie is later placed in asylum but escapes it to find the symbiote, which already killed a few humans to obtain brains. What I like about this story is the fact that it shows that the symbiote is completely out of control, on his own, is even more dangerous than when it's merged with Brock. Now, wouldn't it be cool to see something like that in a Venom spin-off? When Eddie loses the control of symbiote, it abandons him and it does some horrible things? Number 3. The Sand and the Fury, Amazing Spider-Man issue 317. This story already deserves its spot simply because it has one of the greatest Spider-Man vs. Venom fight scenes. It's Venom's second encounter with Spider-Man. He escapes the Vault, a high-security prison where he was placed. After a great fight with Venom, where Peter had to outthink his opponent in every way possible, Peter finally removes his costume and faces Venom in his, well, underwear. He offers himself for the symbiote. The symbiote leaves Brock. However, the shock of trying to break its bond with Eddie knocks both symbiote and Brock unconscious. Now the fangirls will cry in excitement if this scene will involve Andrew in his underwear. Alex Kurtzman will write a story for a Venom spin-off, and let's pray to God that he will come across this issue as a source material. As a result, he might bring us one hell of amazing fight scene, which will involve Peter trying to defeat Venom by merging with the symbiote himself. Interestingly, there was a reference in the Spectacular Spider-Man TV series from this particular issue. Number 4. Ultimate Venom Story Arc, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 33 to 39. In comparison to its mainstream universe counterpart, Ultimate Eddie Brock's story is definitely worth mentioning. First of all, it has a lot of connection with Mark Webb's Spider-Man already, such as Richard Parker. And second, it's just a great story which definitely shouldn't be missed when writing a script. The story starts with Peter discovering his father's work. He watched the old tapes which featured his father Richard as well as Eddie Brock Jr. Eddie Brock, being a friend of Peter in this universe, is the one to show Spidey the symbiote suit, which was created by his and Peter's fathers. Peter merged with the symbiote, and upon realizing how dangerous it is, he explains to Eddie that it needs to be destroyed, but Eddie refuses and later transforms into Venom himself. Just like Eddie from 616, the Ultimate Brock discovers all Peter's secrets as well, after becoming Venom. And the issues feature a great fight scene between Parker and Brock. In this universe, Brock is also a friend of Gwen Stacy. Judging by the trailer, they already used a certain elements from the Ultimate Universe, such as Peter discovering secret files of his father. Overall, it's a great source material, and we definitely should expect more connections between future films and Ultimate Venom. Number 5. Venom vs. Carnage. We've got the origin story of Eddie Brock, we've got the introduction to the symbiote, now we need somebody to fight with. And who's a better villain for Venom than Carnage? Venom vs. Carnage, a 4-issue story released back in 2004. In this story, Carnage is literally having a baby, Toxin, yet another symbiote's offspring. This story could play very well on the big screen only if Spider-Man is going to team up with Venom in a future spin-off film. The issues show Venom not as anti-hero, but as someone who just hates Carnage. Carnage himself is portrayed just as he should, For example, here's a line by Cletus Cassidy, who said anything about killing you. I just have to rip out your rib cage, lungs and spleen so I can get at my baby. You're welcome to what's left. But of course, if they're going to introduce Carnage in a Venom spin-off film, there might be some problems with film's rating. That is of course if they want to do Carnage right, with all the violent scenes and nasty beats. Mark Webb already introduced the Ravencroft prison, and that's where Cletus Cassidy might come from by the time of Venom's spin-off film. Venom teaming up with Spidey to defeat Carnage, that's a great story, especially if a Sinister Six spin-off comes after this one, because this gives Venom a chance to help Spidey once again. Regardless, these are my 5 favorite Venom stories and some great source material for future films. Anyway, let me know what are your favorite Venom stories, let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and I'm out for now.